And Saturday's animation shows the leaders at Cape Lewin. That's Chamonix Pujala passing yesterday, and this morning there's Neutrogena just approaching. In strong southwesterlies and westerly breezes, the option to move further to the south after banging along the exclusion zone is one which is welcomed, particularly by Chamonix Pujala. Behind them, Gaius have picked up speed in this strong northwesterly airstream. Renault a little bit slower today, but much more settled and better conditions for Gaius. And unfortunately, One Planet One Ocean there, banging upwind still. They have been for 2 or 3 days. The conditions should improve today. Same situation, unfortunately, for Spirit of Hungary there, towards the back of the fleet. They're upwind as well. But as I said, Cape Lewin for Neutrogena this morning. And so the Barcelona World Race rankings this Saturday the 7th of January, 9 o'clock this morning. Chamonix Pujala have extended their lead by about 10 miles over the course of the early morning. That's by virtue of speeds of 16.6 knots compared to 13.2 for second place Neutrogena. Distance run over the last 24 hours, well, Chamonix Pujala 363 miles, Neutrogena 338, and course this morning 111 for Chamonix Pujala and 125 for Neutrogena. In third, Gaius Centros Auditivos making 17.7 knots, quickest in the fleet today. Renault Captur just a little bit slower, 17 knots on the morning speed gun. We Are Water 14 knots, 6th place One Planet One Ocean still going upwind at 11.6. Spirit of Hungary still in pretty reasonable shape, 11.4 knots upwind as well.
Well, at the moment of the dismasting you feel a lot of disappointment, and obviously we both felt very sad and very, I don't know how to describe it in English, but it was a very hard moment. Not just the moment of the dismasting, just the days that we were motoring to Salvador, where there was nothing to do, motoring 4 knots and very, very hot, no apparent wind, and just a lot of time to think so there was very hard days. You prepare for a long time this race, and it doesn't matter if you are not with the family for 3 months. 3 months it's a very short time in the life, so we can catch up later. So I wish I will be in the Southern Ocean now with the boat. I think it's still quite a good fight. Obviously between the first and the second group there is quite a bit of separation, really difficult to catch up. But between first and second and third and fourth, maybe we could see some change of positions. But the distance that they have now already, I think to have change of positions you have to break the boat or don't sail properly the boat because you have any problem, because 150 to 100 miles is already a big gap to catch up or to jump a weather system. The race is not even in the middle, so the boats and the guys, they're going to suffer a lot still, and I think we can expect everything. Next time is 4 years from now, so it's very difficult to get into one of these teams. Not just few people has the chance to go around the world in the Barcelona World Race. I wish to be back next time. I feel it like it's an unfinished business, this race for me. And if there is any possibility to be in a really good team, I will be in the race next time.
And we've had Pepe Ribes in the studio talking to the Spanish team about his disappointment after the dismasting of Hugo Boss. Just saying there was no way you could compensate, no way you could really come to terms with it, particularly on the way back in to Salvador de Bahia. He said it was 4 days of just really thinking about nothing else and not being able to talk about anything really with Alex Thompson, and also said he would like to come back to the Barcelona World Race in the future. It's unfinished business. But meantime, Pepe just looking forward to getting back and going sailing. This is leaving a big hole in his life at the moment. He said in terms of projects, the next big thing was picking up his son from school.
Bah oui, qu'on soit en tête, ça c'est sûr. Qu'on ait passé Cap de Win, ça c'est sûr. L'année dernière n'a pas été simple, et là en ce moment c'est pas simple non plus. Là il y a des vagues, alors si tu entends des bruits bizarres, c'est pas grave. Et, bah, le pire cette semaine, c'était quand même le passage de la dépression, là, de l'espèce de cyclone un peu défraîchi là, qui venait de la Réunion. Là. Ça, c'était pas terrible quand même. Le mieux, c'est ce matin, là, parce que nous, on a réussi à passer la situation des portes là évolue. Et là, on est dans la phase qui descend vers le sud. Ah bah ouais, on regarde toujours, c'est pas. Bah oui, c'est quand même notre concurrent plus direct, donc essentiellement le plus dangereux, donc on le regarde en permanence, tous les camions, tous les trucs, on regarde sa vitesse, son cap, etc. Ça fait partie du parcours, quoi. Après, un peu plus sud, un peu plus nord, bon, je sais pas si ça va changer quelque chose. On verra suivant les conditions météo, mais comme c'est pour tout le monde pareil, si tu veux, ça dépend à l'instant T où tu es par rapport à cette zone, par rapport à ton concurrent. Donc, soit que ça favorise celui qui est devant, soit que ça favorise celui qui est derrière. Donc là, nous, dans le cas où on est, on préfère les trucs qui favorisent les mecs qui sont devant. Mais au jour d'aujourd'hui, j'en sais foutre rien si ça favorise un tel ou un tel. Donc, j'en sais rien. Ouais, parce qu'on a une nuit un peu chargée quand même. Donc, on a entamé, s'approche de la zone interdite. Que les vents sont pas très situés en ce moment, donc là, en même temps que je te parle, j'ai ma télécommande pilote que j'ai les écrans sous le nez parce que ça démarre, ça s'arrête, c'est pas très facile.
So, of the Barcelona World Race leaders, then both the top two boats are now past Cape Lewin. Neutrogena passed this morning at 0500 hours UTC. That puts them about 13 and a half hours behind the leaders on Chamonix-Pougelas. Considering they're about 11 and a half hours behind at the Cape of Good Hope, there's really not a great deal of change over the southern Indian Ocean. Still very much similar positions relative to one another. And they have extended, of course, over Gaius considerably over that period. We spoke this morning with Jean Le Cam. He sounded tired. They've had a pretty difficult night. He said the conditions have really been up and down a lot. The breeze has been very unsettled and very, very big waves, and that's been difficult to rest. Bernard Stamm was asleep. He was typically esoteric, was Jean Le Cam this morning, saying that they were leading and passing Cape Lewin, so there was two sure things for them. Last night wasn't easy for them, and it's not easy just now. Seas are still pretty big with lots of big waves, and he was talking a little bit about the cyclonic depression. It wasn't awful. The best bit is now they're starting to get south as the exclusion zone moves south correspondingly. And he also said they always look at the position of Neutrogena, how Neutrogena are going, really remaining pretty non-committal about the exclusion zone, as have most of the skippers been so far. Nobody's either particularly in favour of it or not, as regards the exclusion zone or ice gates. I think that's something we'll discover more about in the debriefs after the race. But he did say it's very much about timing, and the timing does seem to be working for them just now.
Hello everybody. Today the leaders of the Barcelona World Race are 1,000 miles from the Pacific Ocean. They've been driving all night, and we can see on the tracker that Chamonix-Pougelas is now heading to the southeast, thanks to an exclusion zone that gives space in between the high pressure and the low pressure just southern of Tasmania. They're doing 20 knots of boat speed and have around 25 knots of wind coming from the west. A bit behind, 200 miles behind them, we have Neutrogena. Neutrogena is driving as well along the border of the exclusion zone. They have a wind coming from the west, a bit less pressure, doing probably 16 knots of boat speed and 20 knots of western wind. Here we have Gaius. Gaius is still sailing downwind with a lot of pressure coming from the northwest, 30 knots plus of wind, rough seas, 5 to 8 meters of swell. And just behind them, we have Renault Capture in the same weather system, northwest of a big low pressure, and the boat is doing 14 to 15 knots, probably had to slow down because of the big swell as well, but have some good pressure, 30 knots in a gust. We Are Water is on the edge of the low pressure on the southeast and the high pressure on the northwest. We Are Water is doing 40 knots of boat speed, sailing in 80 knots of wind, coming from the southwest, and has good pressure to keep going straight to the east. Here we can see that One Planet, One Ocean Farmaton is struggling with some upwind and a bit lost some miles on We Are Water. And because of that, they slow down because of this east wind coming straight into the bow and 20 knots of wind. So they are doing actually 11 knots of boat speed and are tacking northeast, southeast all the time. Last but not least, Spirit of Hungary here. Spirit of Hungary still sailing upwind, but the wind is expected to ease a little bit, so they are now having 20 to 25 knots and should be decreasing in the next hours, but still sailing at least for one day upwind, going now southeast direction.